guys, welcome back to Clockwork and Noodles, round 2 for actually recording. This is the second time I've had to record, and I really got into a groove with the last recording and I feel really irritated, but we're going to try and do it again. Hello and welcome to episode 11. This is the Case Study of Vanitas, part 2, episode 11. We have one more episode next week. I'm going to take you through the last 2 episodes, my thoughts, my theories, where we might be going. Mainly this week, I'm going to tell you off the bat, just no pretenses, I didn't enjoy the episode, but I do want to use the episode to talk about Vanitas at the end because I've got some interesting bits and pieces I'm formulating when it comes to the character as a whole. Before we get going, make sure you guys are subscribed. Very shortly, I'm going to have my end of season review for you guys. I'm crowning my top 3 anime of the season. What is number 1? And what anime is going into the hidden gem of the season? Which anime do I think hasn't had enough press? With the way certain episodes and certain franchises have now chosen to go, there's going to be some shake-up. I initially thought I'd be presenting you a carbon copy of the midway review, but not anymore. There's definitely no chance I'm going to be giving you a carbon copy because there's a few things that have happened. And yes, I've actually had to drop something. I'll tell you in that video. Of course, we're getting to the end of the season now, so next season we've got new animes coming our way. My plan is to break down 3 anime. In general, the channel isn't doing very well, so I need to go back and maybe go to the drawing board, see what I'm going to do with it. But for now, at least having 3 videos will have the channel ticking over until I decide what direction to take the channel in. There is a Discord channel too that will give you a notification to your phone whenever a video drops. Let's get going and we'll start at the top, explain myself as we go through it. I did initially have a feeling that right at the start, this entire episode could have been negated and settled just by having Mikhail actually trying to talk to Vanitas, because they do actually have a point when they try and talk to one another, and it seems to go okay. He does say to Vanitas, "You weren't expecting me to be alive," and then Vanitas to even say, like, "You don't remember anything, do you?" They do have a moment where they're actually cohesively having a conversation with one another. And plus, it does seem that Vanitas didn't think Mikhail was even alive. Mikhail even wanted to have Vanitas talk to him and take him seriously. Just by showing up, you would have had that. You're supposed to be dead. We are given the information that somebody saved Mikhail and that somebody also can apparently bring back Luna. Luna is the apparently condemned blue moon vampire, the one that all the red moon vampires do not like. Consider anybody who is under Vanitas a curse. Curious to who that may be, because initially I was like, oh, it must have been the doctor because the doctor's still alive. But then that puts them in cahoots with Rufian. And Rufian's working with the charlatan. Does it make sense for it to be also him who wants the blue moon vampire back? However, because it is Pandora Hearts, and I'm going to try and hazard a guess, and it could be wrong, but because I haven't read it, this isn't a spoiler, I'm hazarding a guess based on how Pandora Hearts went. I did notice that Luna looks a lot like true embodiment of what the charlatan looks like when Chloe unmasked them. They've both got that long white hair. Sure, that could just be a thing because they're ancient vampires. That's what they look like. I do have a feeling they are related. Those two are related, whether they are brother and brother, sister, sister, something like that, or even the same person, two sides of the same coin, maybe. But that's the kind of route Pandora Hearts went down, so I would not be shocked the writer was reusing that trope. Vanitas is absolutely disgusted by the idea of bringing back Luna. We don't have enough information to understand why he is the way he is. Last week we saw them living as a free very happily, and then right at the end things seem to go very, very bad. We just don't have the information. I think we're missing a vital key piece. What made Vanitas flip out? We know that his family were murdered by vampires, and we know that he was dedicating himself to the church to even fight the vampires. But something happened. When living with Luna, he chilled out. He was able to calm down a bit, and they were happily living in the forest until the point when Mikhail seemed to be dying and we had that offer. Something happened. I don't think we've been given that piece of information just yet for a reason. We do see Vanitas openly shooting at Mikhail, so no love lost between the two, and at Noe, despite the fact that Noe gets a floor shooting, more of a warning. He shoots the floor, whilst when he's shooting at Mikhail, it's right up in the air, it's higher, so that could have easily hit Mikhail, as opposed to firing that warning shot at Noe to keep him back. I am not a Mikhail fan. I know this is not going to make me very popular with people, but he's everything Vanitas isn't, despite Vanitas having his flaws and downfalls. There's also the fact that Mikhail is happily laughing and watching the two firing at each other. Obviously, he set Domi up as well. He also says they don't know how Dommy was feeling during a very private moment. Mikhail, not a fan. I know that's bad because they're so young, but at the same time, do not like the way that it's all being set up. Didn't really like the angle we were taking this episode anyway. The whole episode to me was very painful to watch. Seeing Vanitas even struggling as well. There's a moment Noe just launches at him. Before even the end scene, I didn't even need someone to tell me that Vanitas was scared. His parents were murdered by vampires. No doubt in his eye, he's covering his eyes, and we're meant to just see him smiling and smirking and trying to entice him and wind him up by saying, I'll kill Dommy. It's PTSD. He 100% got PTSD seeing a vampire launching at him. There's no way inside that he wasn't feeling sad or just terrified. The fight between these two has always been on the cards. Episode 1, we opened up with the line, it was me who killed Vanitas. Noe admits that he's the one who ends Vanitas, but it doesn't make it any easier to accept. So yes, it's always been on the cards, but with it being later down the line, we've gotten to know the characters a lot more. It's difficult to accept. I'm going to say something even worse. I'm rooting for Vanitas. I wasn't rooting for Noe, and I know that's bad. I found it hard to stay neutral. I was trying to keep a neutral eye on everything. Vanitas, I was impressed with because he's a human. He's up against Noe, who is a vampire, and he's got this superhuman strength. All the way through the anime, he's been pushing the idea that he's just a human. I know he's somewhere in between. I was just in shock that Vanitas was able to even last a minute up against Noe. Seeing them pretty evenly matched, even looking to the point that Vanitas was having the upper hand, that was impressive to me because he's a human. I'm a human. I relate to that. Interesting just to see some of those powers because Vanitas does display a few more powers this week, being able to control a few things, using the power of the book, not just to save somebody this time, so seeing what he can do. We do get another foreshadow when the character states that Noe has never killed before. We are told right in episode 1 that Noe is the one who kills Vanitas. It's just another foreshadow, and the anime's made a point to put it in there. I was sad to see Dante, my boy, on the floor, not really taking part in the episode, which makes me feel better because he's not in firing line or anything. But you know me, seeing Dante on the floor, it wounded. He needs a hug, guys. He needs a hug. Vanitas is a blade user. I didn't even remember that he uses blades. It really works. His fight style is to let the opponent close the ground and he fights close contact. I don't think he's got a great deal of edge when it comes to fighting at range. He's got the Book of Vanitas, but most of the time we don't really see him use it. He uses his knife skills. As even Noe says, he's fast. He's predicting my moves. We do see him getting underneath quite a bit, trying to take those shots. Vanitas' memories are so PTSD protected. He goes into a self-hypnosis state that anybody even trying to break in or try to even threaten him, everything just kind of goes berserk. And I feel like that's also a reason why he says vampire. He doesn't say no way. He says vampire, vampire, vampire. We see him unable to see the situation consciously anymore. Something has taken over. I do believe even if he might be okay with somebody looking into his memories, is a possibility he would just go into this kill mode and try and kill whoever it was. The fight between them was explosive, fast. I do believe that's why Vanitas kept saying, I'm going to kill the vampire, not Noe, because he couldn't see Noe. He just saw a vampire. Self-hypnosis was unable to distinguish the two. The Vanitas now has spent time with Noe as a character and sees him as more than just a vampire. When Dommy decides to end it all by committing suicide by her own hand, hats off to her for actually bringing an end to the absolute madness of this week. I was very happy when Jean appears and actually catches her. But it really is the week when everybody attacks everybody because Jean then goes to fight Dommy and Dommy's not quite with it still. It's an episode that was very painful to watch. We do get a nice moment when Noe is given a bit of time just to think about it, chill out for a minute, look in the mirror, take stock of what's going on. He remembers that the face he saw when approaching Vanitas to attack him, it wasn't one of laughter when we at the audience were just shown the laughing face. It was terrified. Vanitas was terrified. He has always been a character who is terrified, but the way that he comes across, all of this fabulousness, this fantasticness that he carries himself with, even be it standoffishness, always been masking the fact that he's a very lovely character at the heart of things. We've seen him sacrifice himself for Mikhail, a kid that he didn't even know, to protect him from being hurt anymore. He was terrified. Very interesting character. Also making bets that he totally stabbed the floor at the end. I don't actually think he's ended Noe. What I think happened is Noe started saying, I am Noe, not a vampire. Vanitas's kill mode only sees vampires, so it's unable to distinguish. So when he's saying, no, I'm not a vampire, I'm Noe, I have a feeling we started to see him become more conscious. He's starting to regain control of his own body. I have a feeling that at the last moment, he was able to sink the dagger into the floor, maybe next to his head or something. No, I don't think Noe is dead just yet. And plus, it's the other way around anyway. I am very nervous to see what happens in the last episode, but initially I just want to say, even if I didn't enjoy the route that we're taking, I am still fascinated and impressed by how, right at the start, I wasn't a Vanitas fan. I got a bit of flack for it. Right now, I am very fascinated how a character who you've not really given me too much about is now one of my most interesting characters to break down. The key thing that Noe ends up remembering and actually seeing is it doesn't matter if you don't know somebody's past. You don't need to know all those details. I think we've gone through at least half a season because the OP showed a season change, so we had summer and a winter. Noe has at least known Vanitas for 6 months. 6 months to actually see who Vanitas right now is. Who Vanitas right now is the most important thing. Vanitas right now is kind. He's trying to help people. He's often said that both humans and vampires are the same. They are both tarnished. They're both capable of very bad deeds. He is a very caring and quite a capable character. Despite the fact that I think Vanitas tries to cut himself off, isn't good at interacting with people because of the way he's been raised and he's grown up away from people and terrified of people. He is a very interesting character, and I used to break down on the channel what's in a design, where I break a character down based on their design. Vanitas is a character who would make those videos very easily, and I think if we ever do get enough people to make it worth it, I would love to go back to doing those breakdowns because we explored the philosophy, the psychology of a character's design and what it means for them as a character and what it can infer. So you can't apply it to real life, but to anime where everything you show really has to be important. A lot of anime artists do take a lot of time making sure that the colours are correct and everything is picked for a reason. Vanitas is a fascinating character. I would love to break down more on Vanitas. Really interesting character. He is kind at the heart. He selflessly puts himself in front despite being absolutely mortally terrified. He sees the idea of being free as being alone. He says that I'll get rid of Dommy. It's more the idea that if you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. You can't lose anything if you've got no attachments. If I rid you of Dommy, you will be free. And obviously he doesn't mean any of it. He sees the idea of being alone as a freedom because you can't get hurt. The only person who can get hurt is you. You can't be hurt by somebody threatening somebody. It's the idea of having no loose ends to be threatened by or be weakened by. He probably sees a friend as a weakness because if I have a friend, that person can be then threatened and I'm going to be weakened by not wanting to see them get hurt. He's that character. I really do love the character as a whole. And I know I'm rambling, going off tangent, but it wasn't my favourite episode, so I decided I'd give you something a bit more of me just going into some light psychology with Vanitas as a character and how much he's so interesting. He's definitely worth digging a bit deeper because the way he is fascinating and it's not by chance. Everything's been done on purpose with him. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that wasn't too rambly for you. I could go on forever when it comes to breaking characters like this down. Fascinating character as a whole. Really do like him because I relate quite a bit to him. Plus, you're a human. A little small part of you has to relate to him a little bit. Thank you guys so much. Tune in again one last time for the final episode next week. I will tell you my overall thoughts, my score out of 10, my thoughts as a whole on the anime, whether I think it did okay or not. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're looking after yourselves. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you've got a good weekend planned. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.